So I'll try. I'll try not to keep you. I was very pleased. I got a lot of response from people sharing research slides and things, and so there's a lot. I'll try to get through as much as I can. But I was just starting to say that some of this is going to be grim. I'm sorry. I'll try to get back to being, optimistic. I know that's what we're supposed to be. It's hard these days to be optimistic, but I think we have to. Now, the title, "The State of One-Off You." I will tell you that. Well, before I explain that, let me move forward. I'll come back to that. Is this going to work? No.
Probably one more click somewhere. It shouldn't. You have to click on the slides first.
Oh, I have to click on these. Which slides?
These. Yeah, actually, it's probably good. No, it should work.
Should work. That's not what I'm expecting. No.
Yeah.
No. All right, hold on. Maybe we can get this right. Why is it? Yeah. Here's a show. Here somewhere. Things changing. Nice. Oh. So here we are. And what I was just saying, and sorry to break my train of thought so many times, but is that I will come back to what I mean by the state of one-off you. So now I'm going to get a little bit grim just for a minute. And that is just decidedly not working. Not even this. Arrow keys pop. But it changes it here, but it does not change it there.
I say
Screw zoom. I mean,
my heart's going on the recording.
there. So, all right. Hey. Right? Look. Science, everything we do here, everything we think about, critical thinking, evidence-based research, everything that we do here is under assault. Okay, it's under assault. The only way that we are going to get through this, in my view, is right here in departments like this, in laboratories like this, doing the things that we do every day. Teaching each other and teaching students, as we do, over and over again, on and on, how to be scientists, how to be critical thinkers, how not to do your own research, okay? So I'm worried. This is from the Atlantic. Every scientific empire comes to an end. The danger's there. I'm sorry, it just is. And if we're gonna get through that, we're going to have to remember what we do good, what we do well, why we're here. Okay? So we continue to do what we do best. We have a great department. I inherited a great department 10 years ago. It continues to be a vibrant, well-functioning department. It's not perfect, but we've developed a very friendly, collaborative, inclusive culture. We have strong performance. We have amazing faculty and amazing research. We have generous support from our donors. We have great support from our staff. And God willing, in some number of years, we'll go back to continued hiring of excellent faculty. Remember what our mission is. This predates me a long way. Okay, this is from 2009. It talks about being at the forefront of research, graduate training, innovative undergraduate education. The way I summarize it is, I've said this before, we make physicists. That's what we do here. It's a way of knowing. And our students carry this training into a wide variety of careers. They think they think quantitatively and critically. Okay? So, I came here 8 years ago. 5 deans, 5 provosts, and 2 presidents later, I'm still here. Okay? So this gets me to the thing at my first slide, which was one off you. So one of these illustrious folks was quoted in one of our meetings as saying, you know, this place drives me crazy. It's just one off you. Everything's a separate case. Everything's a special case. That's a bug. That's a feature. Okay? That's who we are. Of course, everything's one off. We're all one off. We're all quirky. That's why we're here. Okay? That's the superpower of a department like this of the university, is that we're one off. We do unique things. We do things according to what moves us, what drives us, what makes us curious. Okay. So it's been kind of a ride for me with all these different folks. It seems like, you know, you don't get used to one person, then it switches. Now, we do have a new leadership team, a newest leadership team. I almost said this week's leadership team. But you may have heard, but you know, we have a new president and a new provost as of last year. And if you didn't hear the word this morning, we have a new permanent dean, Courtney Meehan, who was just named dean this morning. Okay. Leadership is important, no doubt. Okay. But never forget that the most important thing that happens in the university happens in classrooms in this building, happens in research labs in this building. It happens at the grassroots, at the department level. I love to hear people talk about interdisciplinary studies. That's great. But I'm kind of a proponent of disciplinary studies. All right. I believe in physics as a way of knowing. I believe that our expertise has something to give to the world. And that's why I do any of this. So it's been a while, and this is my last one of these, I think. So I wrote down memory lane. Here's the first year graduate students from 2017. So 11 folks from that year. They've all moved on at this point. Here's some of the places they've moved on to. Intel, Helion Energy, which is doing tabletop fusion. Engineer for BAE Space and Mission Systems, another Intel, Naval Air Systems Command. There's a few people still working on their PhDs in other places, a couple of people I don't know about. But again, students are our product. This is what we do, okay? And we should be proud of the students that we send out into the world because they're doing great things. Now, I want to say something about budgets because that's been a big topic. To do that, I have to do a little bit of context. So just so everybody knows, at WSU, we have these, we have the College of Arts and Sciences, and it's divided into 18 departments and schools. When I go to a chair and directors meeting, it's a mob. It's lots of people. It's a big college, and you see it goes everywhere from art to physics. That's challenging too. Not everybody sees the problems of other departments, okay? Okay, so there's all these departments in the college. And here's the college among all the 11 large units at the university. So we've got education, we've got nursing, we've got honors, medicine, vet med. So I want to say something about the budget. Because you're going to hear from people who maybe aren't in the College of Arts and Sciences that we had it easy because we didn't get the 3 to 6% cut that all the other units got. Okay. Well, here's what we did get. We got spared from this cut, but then they said out of an $80 million budget, get rid of 2.4 million this year. So guess what? That's a cut. Okay. And it's something that we're facing and trying to deal with, and it's difficult. Okay. So this is something that the college is trying to do this year, is eliminate this so-called structural deficit. Now, look, if I had to pay 5 of my neighbors' mortgages, all right, and claim that I had a structural deficit, there'd be a little problem with that logic. And the fact of the matter is, you saw all that structure. The College of Arts and Sciences teaches well over half of the student credit hours at WSU. It does not get the money in proportion to teaching all of those credit hours. It hasn't for years. And on top of that, we had a budget model that completely screwed us. All right? On top of that. So we've been playing behind the 8 ball pretty much since I got here, even before. I still think doing pretty well. But I sort of always want to point out, because they keep talking about structural deficits. I'm like, not if I'm paying everybody else's bills. Okay? But nonetheless, this is what we have, and this is what we're challenged with. So a lot of this comes down to enrollment. I showed this graph last year and talked about this drop. Okay, well, things look like they might be a little better this year. I just did the numbers for our introductory courses. In fall 2024, we had 951 enrolled. In spring, it's always a little smaller in spring, 931. But right now, we've got over 1,000 enrolled in our introductory courses. That's a good sign. Okay? It's a good sign. Now, the provost will tell you that doesn't matter. What matters is, are they still here in the spring? Are they still here next fall? Right? Do we retain them? I argue that this department, as amazing it is at research, is also amazing and at the forefront of developing methods and courses and ways and engagements that are retaining students. Okay? So I always show this slide. This is us by the numbers this year. We have 19 tenure track faculty. That hasn't changed very much. It's a little bit bigger than 8, 9 years ago. 13 full professors, 3 associate, 3 assistant. We have 7 career track faculty. This department always has impressed me with how the career track faculty are so well integrated with the whole faculty. And we don't really see the difference in names when we have our discussions and when we talk about strategy and we take care of our students. This includes 2 faculty at Vancouver and one at Tri-Cities. They teach introductory courses there. We have numerous affiliate and adjunct faculty, 3 postdocs, 5 full-time administrative and technical staff, 54 graduate students, including 1 that's in the material science program, and about 37 majors, depending on how you count. That's been pretty steady the last few years. We have a total of 107 students that either are majors or they're being advised in physics and astronomy. That's an opportunity. I'll talk a little bit more about that, right? Because we'd like to have more majors. So here's our postdocs: Chris Carroll, Hongwei Chen in Yifang Mei's group, and Nicole Bernese in the Carisi group. So I want to take a moment, like I always do every year, and ask the first-year graduate students to stand. You're here. Please stand. First-year graduate students. Welcome. This, I always say, is it's a calling. All right. I have tremendous respect for you for starting on this journey because you love doing research, because you love thinking about physics. You could make more money elsewhere, we know, but you don't, because this is your passion. All right. So All right. Better phrase, you choose not to. Because your passion is doing physics. Now, look, I just want to say this is something that I really appreciate and that we all appreciate because research doesn't happen in this department. Teaching doesn't happen in this department without you. And I hope that we do, all of us, everything we possibly can to make you feel welcome, to integrate you into our little family, and to get you on the road to the degree you came here to get. Okay, I'll let you sit there. All right. This is our administrative and technical staff. These are really important people. Get to know them, be nice to them, and they will be nice to you. Julia Zaring is our business manager and my assistant. We have Tom Bush, who takes care of grants. Jan is in charge of academic programs. The students will know Jan through interacting with her the most. Paula takes care of purchasing and travel. And I don't know why this came on a clicker, but I just want to mention Dasha. Dasha, are you here? She's probably missed that, but I just wanted to mention Dasha because many of you know because she's been helping us out part-time. And now we have her full-time for this semester. And we are going to conduct a search for a new position. Many of you know that we used to have a lecture demonstration person by the name of Tom Johnson, who was awesome. And we just lost our undergraduate laboratory director, Jacob Turner. So the way we're doing this, since IT has now gone over to the college, is we're going to combine lecture demo with the technical side of undergraduate laboratories and make that a new position. Okay, so that's what you're going to see. That's a change you're going to see. What do we do with the academic side of the labs? Well, we find a faculty member who's going to take care of that or more. And this semester, it's going to be Professor Guy. Anya, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. To be fair, we've talked about this for a while. We've talked about having our faculty more involved with the development of the lab curriculum, the assessments, the learning outcomes, and so on. And so I'm just, again, very appreciative that Anya has stepped up. As the first director of fundamental physics laboratory.
Titles.
Oh, didn't I send it to you? The college insists on. Yeah, they insist that you have a title. So you do have a title. I can't remember exactly what it is. I just want to give a shout out to technical services. Many of you interact with them quite a bit. You may know that this year we got a new manager of technical services, Doug Jackson. I mean, this group isn't under the department per se, but we're one of the biggest customers of technical services, particularly shock physics and the Department of Physics. And so these are the three guys that do most of the machining work down there. And Jim Harliak, who's affiliate in our department and is over in ISP, is the advisory committee chair for tech services. And these folks are really great and really good to get to know. The thing about being here with machinists like this is that they want to think with you about how to solve your problem. You don't always get that outside, right? They love working here because they get an opportunity to do that. You have the opportunity to go to them and say, is this really the best way to do this, or is there a better way? And they will work with you, okay? It's one of the big advantages that we have here. And it's right next door. I mean, it's literally in our building, okay? I just want to give a shout out to both Professor Baldessari, sitting right here, and to Professor Dewey. Matt, are you somewhere? You're right back here. So Vivian was promoted to associate professor. That starts basically 2 days ago or something like that, and awarded tenure. And Matt was promoted to full professor. Congratulations. I want to welcome back somebody from the whatever it is, the nether regions of administrative land, and that's Chris Keene. He's back there waving his hand. Chris is full professor tenure track, has rejoined the department now, and is working on various aspects of fusion. And I have a little bit of something to show a little later about that. And yeah, I think it's really important to tell you all that there's other changes afoot. And so Vivian has graciously agreed, Professor Baldessari has graciously agreed to become the new graduate advisor. And so for those of you first-year graduate students, particularly second-year graduate students who have yet to affiliate, you'll now be working directly with Vivian about courses and about learning how to find groups and all that other good stuff. I just want to say thank you to Brian Collins, who was our graduate advisor for 8 years, pretty much shortly after I got here is when you started. And I think by all accounts did a tremendous job. I've got other plans for him. I also want to mention we had a farewell. So Professor Yogi Gupta, who many of you know quite well, retired after a 40-year career at WSU. He was Regents Professor of Physics, the Creighton Distinguished Professor of Shock, and the founding director of the Institute for Shock Physics, that building that's next door to us. And really, WSU is the academic home of shock physics. And it was an absolutely tremendous career, and had the opportunity to celebrate with Yogi and his family last spring. We awarded some degrees last year, 5 PhDs, these here, and 4 master's degrees, 3 of which are kind of milestone toward the PhD. Okay. That's a little lower than a typical year, but it fluctuates. It's all the statistics of small numbers. So, you know, it does tend to fluctuate a little bit. Yes, I'm really excited about this. This looks normal. You know, this number kind of bobs up and down between, you know, 7 or 8 and 15 or 16. It's done that pretty much since I've got here. But I'll just mention the 7 degrees we awarded in the spring. So this goes all the way back to 15, 16. We have this first-year seminar course, Physics 188, taught by Michael Allen, and it has 45 registrants this year. This is an opportunity. Now, I've talked to Michael about this. Not all of them are physics majors. There's a few of them that are looking for a 1-credit science course. Okay, but most of them are. Most of them are. This is an opportunity for us to expand our program, to recruit more majors, to show more undergraduates, you know, the great culture in this department and why they want to study to be physicists. There's a faculty, I especially point to the faculty, there's a meet and greet on Tuesday, September 9th, in a couple of weeks. That's the regular meeting of 188, and it's an opportunity for our young students to meet our faculty and get involved talking about research and talking about what they do right away. So I'm very excited about this. I think it bodes very well. That and the fact that if you look at the enrollment in our undergraduate classes this fall, it looks great. It really does. There are very few classes that the dean would yell at me for being under-enrolled. Okay, that's how I judge. All right. We're always going to be a small department. What I found is that no matter what the overall enrollment does, there's just this core of people that want to do physics, right? They're here when the enrollment's low. They're here when the enrollment's high. Okay, and they want to do something hard. They want to do something, you know. And I find that that core stays, and you know, so it bobs up and down, but it stays around. I'll mention to everybody, especially people who are new, that we have these student clubs and organizations. There's the physics club, that's the undergrad club. Allison Mata is the president there. Professor Cerruti is the faculty advisor. And I don't know this for sure. Is Messick still? He graduated.
Yeah.
So is there a new president?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so TBD, since Messick graduated, TBD for the president of Physicists for Inclusion in Science, one of the groups in the department that's dedicated to looking at issues across the department that have to do with equity, inclusion, with being fair to everybody. We also have this Optica SPIE grad club, and I had to ask just before the talk. And so the president now is Lauren McDermott, and the vice president is Garrett Compton. I saw Garrett's here somewhere. There he is. Okay. So I'm trying to put their pictures up, but I wasn't sure who was taking that this year, but there's your answer. These are really active, vital clubs for the students, and I encourage you to get involved. Also, a new graduate student assembly person, Pavan Chowan, is taken over for Acacia. I want to thank Acacia for the great work that she did over the last couple of years, really sort of bridging the gap and introducing us to the idea of having our graduate students more involved and get more information on the different committees and the committee work that we do. Okay. So, how am I doing? Oh, not bad. Department highlights. So this is one of my favorite. This takes me go back to the one-off. Okay. Look, you're gonna see journal covers. You're gonna see like 3 or 4 people that got, headlines in the WSU Insider. Like they get publicity across the campus. And really, I tell people wherever I go, I will put the best faculty in my department up against anyone. We're not as deep. We're not as big. Okay. I used to like to joke around with the dean. I say, when we were in the Pac-12, the old Pac-12, it was us in Oregon State that were our size. And every other department, Stanford, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, was at least twice as big. And you may know that the perception is that size correlates with quality. And, Tom Dickinson always said, we punch above our weight. And he was right. And it's still true. Okay? Be proud of that. Be proud of it. We have an REU program that is continuing to be successful. It's led by Brian Collins and Anya Guy. And they had another great year in 25, 13 undergrads. And plus, we added to the cohort several WSU undergrads, faculty and grad mentors, quite a group. They did outside activities as well as their research presented at the poster session at the beginning of this month. And again, this is a great advertisement for our graduate program. It brings in really good students from all over the country. We're playing a long game here. We're getting the word out more and more about what goes on here and the environment that students have to learn about and excel at research. Okay, so a little more nitty-gritty. Now, I just have to apologize because I won't be able to explain this as well as the people who did the research. I'll do my best. And frankly, a lot of these just kind of got put in toward the end, and I'll work my way through. But this summer 2025 undergraduate research project, supervised by Professor Marston, involves Arden Handy, a WSU student, and shows that that you can get rainbows of oblate water drops with a new type of ultrasonic levitation. And I know that Professor Marston's headed to a conference on levitation, where I presume everybody floats away at the end. No, it's this serious thing, and this is really remarkable work, very cool, and you get to visualize it with the cameras. And so that's what you see here, the new levitator with the drop. It's been submitted for publication. Okay, just because I want to point this out, it's the last time I'll have a chance to point it out. Professor Marston has mentored over 75 undergraduate, graduate, postdoc people in a 48-year career here at WSU. It's remarkable. And so you see here, even as a very senior member of our faculty, continues to work with students, continues to publish papers, continues to get funding. And again, you might say one-off, right? One-off. I want to point out the important relationship between the Institute for Shock Physics and the Department of Physics and Astronomy. I think it's getting stronger. Brian Jensen took over last year as the director. We also hired full professor Dan Dolan, who's here. And we have Jim Harliak, who's in ISP, but affiliated with our department. The ISP, in addition to the facility here, has a facility up in Spokane, and Eric Eilers is an investigator there. And Oregon can take students, just for all you graduate students who might be looking for projects at some point. All of these folks are people that you can talk to. In addition, well, these folks are actually tenure track in our department, so you should be talking to them. These folks are affiliated with the department, but they can supervise thesis projects. ISP also has connections at Argonne, of course, the dynamic compression sector. There are active collaborations all over the US. It's such an important place for WSU's visibility. And yeah, it's got physics in the name. That's good. That's good for us. Okay. And we're going to keep building that relationship. Here's work out of the Collins group. This is, you may have seen this either on the cover of Advanced Materials. Advanced Materials is no slouch journal, I can tell you. Okay. And you may have also seen it in the WSU Insider. A world record for ion mobility in an organic semiconductor. Is that right? Is that the qualifier?
In any material.
In any material. In any material. So accelerating control via nanochannel, a novel chemical transistor. This was, it made the cover of Advanced Materials, and alum Tamana Khan, who's now at Intel, was principally involved in that work as a student. This comes from the Yi Gu's group. This is imaging domain walls in ferroelectrics, very, very important materials, and using something called tip-enhanced second harmonic generation that was published just this year, involved one of Yi's students who is since, who has graduated earlier, but the work just was finished and came out, using second harmonic generation to discern differences in the domain, in the actual domain walls and ferroelectrics, the differences between the boundaries, the walls, and the actual domains. Okay. This from Maria Carisi's group, and just kind of, Maria's off to a fantastic start. I know many of you you may or may not know that she actually spends half the year in Greece, building a research group in Greece, in addition to the research group that she's building here. And there are papers and grant applications and things are moving. And so this is just a little summary of the students and, of course, the postdoc that she has in her group, talking about publishing a paper that paves the way for multi-messenger observations of supermassive black hole binaries with pulsar timing arrays. And you may remember that the buzz about the background, the gravitational, the background of gravitational radiation, and that was discovered by pulsar timing arrays and is sort of one of the main efforts that Maria's group works on. Matt McCluskey's group, this also appeared on the cover of AIP Advances, also was a big deal, was a cover story in the WSU Insider, involved Julie Miller as the graduate student, layered semiconductor, showing potential for next generation data storage. And so data taken here, this is diamond anvil type data, published in AIP Advances and making the cover. So, yeah. This I got from Chris Keene. I hinted at this earlier, and Chris is working on kind of all aspects of the effort to move fusion forward. Okay, that's how I would. Is that a fair description, Chris? I think that's a fair description. And you can see that one of the things they did last year was lead a DOE-sponsored workshop on fusion commercialization. He's working closely with companies on material science and other issues related to fusion. And so this has been Chris's jump back into the department. And I also should just mention that he's also been teaching a course in the Honors College, Physics is a Way of Knowing, which just is one of my favorite titles for a course of all time. It's from Michael Forbes, who organized this summer program, this conference at the Institute for Nuclear Theory. Did I get it right? Nuclear theory. Yep, good. Compressible turbulence from cold atoms to neutron star mergers. Many of you know that that Michael works in that obviously connected field of cold atoms and interior of neutron stars. Not so obvious, but it is really connected, and it's amazing that it is. And What's that? Oh, sorry. So Michael organized Michael and colleagues, I should say, organized this conference from June, or organized this workshop, I should say, from June and July, looking at nuclear physics, cold atoms, classical turbulence. These talks are online, including pedagogical reviews. You can talk to Michael about how to access those. Oh, I guess you could also do that. The QR code. It's great, right? Also from Michael, in addition, just a reminder that starting as early as tomorrow, the iSci-Math coffee hours will return. I've talked about iSci-Math before as this kind of program within our graduate program that's hybrid, that involves mathematics, could involve other disciplines, looking for students that are interested in interdisciplinary approaches, creative approaches, not obvious approaches to solving interesting real world problems that you might not necessarily think a physicist would attack at first glance, but it turns out you can, or a mathematician, or a physicist and a mathematician. And you can see the discussions range from mathematics, science, economics, computers, politics, pedagogy, you name it. These are really great discussions, and they involve really good coffee as well, if that plays a role in getting it there. I ran out of time to prepare slides. I really wanted to highlight some of the things we've been doing in undergraduate education because we're out ahead. I have meetings with the dean, and the dean says, wow, you guys are doing such a great job at reducing DFW rates. That's D's, F's, and withdrawals from introductory courses. And we are. And the initial move on that, the initial push came from both Anya Guy and Brian Collins in teaching Physics 101. But it's growing. And I just want to mention, this is another project of Anya's that started several years ago, Physics 150. This is great. The dean loves me for this course because these students aren't college of arts and science students. It's not a zero-sum game. They're from the School of Education, and this has become the class that they take to be certified or to qualify for certification in teaching physical science. Win-win. I mean, we get 90 students a year taking 3 sections of this course now, regularly. Physics 322, I want to shout out to Guy. We finally got students to take this course this year, including 5 students from the School of Music. I'm really excited about that because they're afraid to take physics and they shouldn't be. And it's the course they should take for their UCOR PSI requirement. All right, they should be taking physics of music. And so sound and so that's Physics 322. It's being offered this fall and it has 15 students registered. The dean doesn't bother me if it gets to 15. Actually, for a 4-credit course, she doesn't bother me if it gets to 12. But I'm really happy with 15. Really, all right. The other thing I just want to give a shout out to Anya and to Nicholas Cerruti, who have been working with engineering on what can we do for engineering students to establish learning goals and better meet learning goals in 201 and 202. 80% of the students in those courses are from the engineering school. You might say, well, wait, physicists need to take that too. You're right. And I had this idea that honors physics is where our majors should be taking their introductory physics. It's smaller. You're with all these smart people, and we can teach physics the way a physicist wants to teach physics, and not and now I'm not saying we don't do that for the engineers. Physics is physics, okay? But we can work with that, all right? And the fact is that this year I decided to offer Physics 205, the honor section of mechanics, in addition to 206, which is the honor section of E&M, which we usually offer in the fall. And it's got 14 students. All right, so what I'm hoping for, what I'm seeing here is that we're going to have incoming students that get into physics right away and get into honors physics right away. All right. And Michael Allen reports to me that among the 33 or so students that you advised, all but 5 had the math qualifications, were Calc ready, were Calc 1 ready, basically. This is great. This means these students are ready to move quickly. All right. This department by itself is changing the landscape in undergraduate education. No lie. And I mean, the dean calls me in to tell me these things. Surprises me. I mean, what do you want to talk about? Oh, I want to talk about how good you're doing. Fantastic. I always like those conversations. Okay. All right. But that's real. And it's because of the hard work of people in this room, not just the faculty, by the way, because the faculty have been working with graduate students on how to teach labs, for example, and reworking the curriculum. And that's effective as well. And that's because of buy-in from our graduate students. Okay. This is a slide I actually put up in 2017. I said, one of our big priorities this year is to improve our web presence. Yeah, well, we didn't, I have to say, I didn't follow through on that very well until this year. We finally got it. And I just want to thank Michael Allen once again, and Chris Carroll and Brian Collins too, who also contributed. Michael did a lot of the heavy lifting just in terms of getting the thing going, so that it was actually up and running days before the semester started. It's really functional. It's fully compliant with the accessibility regulations. So again, the dean's going to love that. Organized to help students get information on degree and research opportunities. That's what we want our website to do, especially when we're recruiting. Okay. And it takes full advantage of the college university news feeds, and it supplies up-to-date information. You'll get information on our colloquia that isn't from August 2022. All right. You'll get the current information on colloquia, on other events that are happening in the department. Okay. I really believe that this is a huge step forward in making the website usable for us and also attractive to people that we're trying to attract to join us. Okay. Let's see. Oh, there's got to be a party. Yeah. So the summer party, the party that my wife and I have traditionally hosted to begin the academic year, this year will happen on Saturday, September 13th. There'll be more information coming to you, including directions to the house for those new people. The directions are basically, you're not there yet. Look at the directions. You'll think you should have been, but we live out in Viola, and it's a ways, about 35 minutes from here, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we look forward to, as we do every year, we look forward to hosting the whole department, and the whole department is invited. Okay. So I hope you can join us for that. I'll say thank you again for your attention. I have to say, I just put this slide up from last year, because I believe in this so much. I say it every year. People have started quoting it back to me, which warms my heart. I'm a values-driven leader. Look, I expect to hold you accountable, and especially for you to hold me accountable for acting from our values as a department. What are our values? Students come first. Always say hello to the custodian. Nobody in here is higher or lower. There's no need for talking down or talking up. We're a group, a family, an organization that values the contributions that every part makes to the whole. And take the stairs. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, look after each other. It's important, especially now. The university is getting big and bloated, and this family is what you have. If I were going to go, to my roots at the University of Michigan, and quote Bo Schembechler and say, the team, the team, the team. It takes seriously the idea of service leadership. It's my job to serve you. I serve the community I lead. That's the idea. That's what leadership is to me. I'm proud of this department, always have been. Proud to be chairing it. It's fantastic. You all are fantastic, what you're doing. And feedback is always welcome. You can't offend me. You just let me know what's going on. I have office hours this semester. They'll be Mondays 4 to 5 again. If you don't like those or can't make those, talk to Julia. Especially students have what I call the privilege of just going to Julia and saying, I want to meet with the chair, and she will set up that meeting. Okay? And we'll have graduate student town halls again to be determined. We try to have those once a semester. Okay? Okay. This is just for your information. I may be a little absent in October if the Tigers keep playing the way they're playing. They're like 76 and 53. And if they make the World Series, I gotta go. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.